This week in car audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. This week in car audio. Tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in, tune in. We'll be talking about bass, talking about chips, talking about rings. You ain't got them, zip your lip. You got a problem you haven't found, check your grounds. The show about to start. Tune in, 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 tune in. This week in car audio. Yeah. Tune in. This week in car audio.
Welcome to This Week in Car Audio with your host, the Judge, Doug Stockton, and my co-host, the superstar, check him out in Vegas, living his best life, Mr. Jeffrey Fernandez. How's it going, Jeff? Yeah. Yeah, so why don't you tell us about your event this weekend? It was a 3X event, and how did that go? Any world records and stuff, or what? Couldn't back it up? Oh,
Different
oh,
location.
Jeffrey, I am
Yeah.
so sorry. I thought I turned you on. Uh, I
No
did swear to
way.
you. Dude. Peter says he can't hear him. Jeffrey's talking away. All that stuff. I am so sorry, guys. All right, so Jeffrey, go over the 3X again real quick. Sponsored by Moses.
I got to do it again.
Yeah, entry. Go over the
Okay.
entry part at least. That's super important.
All right. Okay. So for those of you who don't have the ability to read lips, I guess I'll repeat myself. But so this past weekend at a triple point event, I wasn't prepared for the amount of competitors there. There was 63 entries,
Which
believe
is
it or not.
excellent.
So that's a good thing. It was at a first-time location. Robert Gallegos from Gorilla Hertz. Actually, I think he works there. So
Mm-hmm.
he asked his bosses if, hey, can I have an event here? And they said, yeah. And, we had it. And they actually came by and said they totally loved everything. And we're going to be back there pretty soon, hopefully. Um, we talked a little bit about world records being set there. There was one world record that was broken. It was broken by Moses Martinez. He actually broke his old record
So does that mean
that
he
he
hit a
did.
60?
He did a 60, but it was in a, I think it was freestyle. Might have been freestyle.
Oh, got you.
But
Okay.
yeah, so I forgot the exact total. I had it up here, or the exact score he did. Actually, I can bring it up here. 154.8 is the new record because he did that twice,
in
and he
5K wall.
yes, pro
Okay.
stock wall 5K. Yeah,
Yep. And then this
yeah.
weekend I got coming up in Northern California at Nyman's shop. We are going to be doing another 3X, once again sponsored by Moses and Team Send It. And it's going to be at Nyman's shop. But it's also going to be a renewal of wedding vows for Team Send It Janet and Team Send It Sean Kent. So they're going to renew their vows. We're going to do our qualifying. Then at 8 p.m., we're going to stop and stand in front of the microphone, and they're going to renew their vows. Looking
Oh,
forward
that's
to
gonna be
it.
cool.
And the reason we're doing these 3X events, Celise said we can kind of hint at or mention. We've been kind of hinting at it for the last couple weeks. We aren't going to divulge all the information because that is Rosa puts Team Space for Base Doug. Um,
What?
anyway, look forward to a multiple locations in similar areas where we've had locations for World Finals before.
Oh,
Is that
were we
good?
not supposed to? Were we not supposed to tell?
Well,
I think I told the
not
guys on
here,
Saturday.
not on here.
Okay,
You
not
want
on
to
here.
you want to come and ask me? Ask me at my show. I'll
There you
divulge
go.
more information at the show. So
Make sure you slide into Doug's DMs for the information there. I mean, for about the show, about the show.
yeah. Don't ask. Don't try and slide into my DMs. You ain't gonna like what you get back. Anyway, so one of the things about building a world record vehicle, you got to be able to build a speaker box. Rosa says she's excited for that event coming up. I have no idea where it is. So apparently you told Rosa, Rosita.
Yeah. I had to
Um,
ask her how to pronounce the name of that city because I guess it's somewhere up. Well, I can't really say, but
yeah,
it's
it's in the
somewhere
Northern
around
Cal
here,
area. Yes.
Northern Cal area,
So,
and she was able to tell me so.
yeah. So anyway, so if you're gonna build a speaker box, you got to start somewhere. You got to learn how to design speaker boxes because the only way you're going to be successful and continue to get louder is to build a crap ton of boxes and see what works and what doesn't work inside your vehicle. As we've discussed, test. But that's what's
Oh
going
yeah.
to get you on a good sound footing to get going is 100% is going to be how to design a box. At least you have something to start with. That brings us to our guests, Carlos Ramirez. Why don't you tell us who you are, where you're at, why we got you on here, please, sir?
Okay, my name's Carlos Ramirez. I've been in the industry since 1993. I've been self employed since I was 19 years old. I now have two shops and 10 employees, and I've been building boxes since I was 19 years old. I'm now 47, so I have thousands of boxes under my belt. I started using software early on because we all start with pen and paper, but as these power levels increase and as the enclosure become more complex, building an enclosure without software, as long as you're doing a sealed or simple vented, is easy. But once you start getting into first, second, third, fourth order and passive
Mhm.
radiators, it becomes more complex. And you could do it with pen and paper, but the software just makes it so much faster.
Mm-hmm.
I've used all the box building softwares out there. I
Basebox Pro
prefer,
6.
yep.
Oh
I
wow.
still love that one. The only issue with it is you have to be technically savvy to use it because all it produces is numbers.
Yes,
So you have to understand the numbers, otherwise that box, and it doesn't give you any information, but except for curves for power and impedance and wind velocity through your port velocity.
exactly.
So if you don't understand those numbers, that box design program doesn't do any good for you, right?
Exactly, 100%. Then that's exactly why I use TermLab and TermPro,
Yep.
because not only does it have software where I can use my RTA and SPL meter all in one software, it also gives me the subwoofer enclosure design software, and they've just added a feature where I can output to my CNC. So after I draw it and design it and lay everything out, I can actually export the file and cut it on my CNC. The program maps it out so you waste the least amount of material, and then we'll run it on a piece of scrap first. So it's literally zero waste. I can model 3, 4, 5 different enclosures in a matter of minutes, see what's going to work, what's not going to work, and go from there. It saves so much time. It's so powerful and so easy to use. And
And
it's
like you
just,
said, 2 shops, and I think previous to the show, you said you were putting out like 10 vehicles a week or something like that.
yep.
So, Calvin,
Wow.
your favorite stalker here, Jeffrey says, "Why is Jeff at a strip club? So unprofessional, Mr.
Oh
Furry
no!
Nandez."
Come on, come on, Cal. I invited you up here. You didn't. You didn't want to come up, so boo.
All right. So, just so everybody knows, we're not being sponsored by Term Lab and Term Pro for this at all. We just looked and tried to find a good quality, solid software program and somebody that was good at it. And so that's why we brought this on. And also, we know the bulk of our listeners and whatnot already have the Term Lab software as far as the meters. So it's just a upgrade of whatever cost it is, and it's an additional software upgrade to make to get the box building program to work with the existing system you have. Now, does anybody have a vehicle they want to send out this way? I prefer probably something out of here. Tristan from Bridgetown, Barbados says, "Carlos, what's the next bike build?" But let's go over this first. Tristan, while he's talking about the bike build, give us a vehicle that you would like to see, maybe some sizes, and then we'll just kind of build a box to fit you or fit what you're asking about. All right, so what's your next bike build while he's coming up with that?
Oh, well, we're dead in the middle of our busy season now. So at this shop, we have 40 bikes, and at the other shop, we have like 20 bikes.
Wow.
So we probably have 10 that we're going to deliver this week. I'm actually testing the new DS18 carbon fiber mid base drivers in a bag. So a lot of people are saying that they're copies of the Euphoria Expert Carbon. So I was asked to test them side by side, head to head, to see if they really are similar. They ended up being similar, but it's not the same woofer. There's a bunch of differences, and it's a long video, and I like to be honest. I'm not sponsored by any company, so when I do a test, the results are the results. And first go around, I want to see how much power they can handle. I blew both, so they both equally blew up. There's a lot of smoke in the video, so on the second round I dialed it back. But yeah, neither one of these 1,000-watt woofers like being hooked up to a 5,000-watt amplifier.
Okay.
Wow.
So at 2,500 watts a piece, they didn't last too long.
Yep. Calvin says he tried to come up there, but Dana was catching on to you guys. So,
I gotcha.
yeah.
All right, maybe next time, Cal.
All right. Since Tristan ain't getting back to us quick enough, I'm trying to figure something out. So let's, I don't know, just say we're going to do, why don't you just give us maybe something you already got kind of scheduled, and then just go through the parts. Go ahead and share your screen, and we'll watch and see how you do this. So build something from scratch.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Yep.
Not too many people using the CNC machines and stuff like that. So
Right.
that's when you know it's next level.
All right, so this is the basic
there we go.
program.
So, here he goes. He put in there. He wants a box for 212s, 2000 Honda Civic.
Nice and easy.
Okay.
Oh, I should have gave him a harder one.
There's all kinds of room in the trunk of a Honda Civic. All right. So first, when you're doing this, you start with the driver. Is that how you start first?
Yes. I actually recommend doing a single 12. That
Okay.
way we could do more work with the port.
Okay.
Because 212s is not going to be a lot of airspace in the trunk of a Civic. So I say we do it for a single 12.
Okay. So if somebody were to come into your shop, you would downsell them instead of upsell them and say, hey, you know, you're going to be happier with a single 12 possibly in this install than a dual 12, right?
That's the great part about this program, because what I would do is I would bring them over to the computer and I would model the enclosure with two. As a matter of fact, we're going to do it.
Okay.
So we'll model it with.
Okay.
I got the DC audio loaded up, so the M2 level 4.
Okay. So it's a higher end. It's a mid to high end for them.
Hmm. So you go to the database. So go to D.
So Calvin has a request: an '06 Armada 16 C7 12s in a 6 order, please. I'm thinking he's
Wow,
trying to.
that's heavy duty.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get a jump on somebody for his vehicle. Anyway, sorry about that, sir. Go ahead.
All right. So go down and find your woofer.
That almost looks like the old school red lines, but they had the red surround. I was a fan of those back in the day. I might even have the guy who RNS, the S part of the RNS. I might have him on the show one of these days. He lives out here by me.
Okay, so we've picked a woofer. If you look on the screen,
Mm-hmm.
at the very bottom left-hand corner, you see the EBP.
Okay.
So in the middle, it'll tell you that the woofer likes a sealed or a vented enclosure. You can go either way. If the slider's all the way to the left, they recommend sealed. If it's all the way to the right, they recommend vented.
Okay,
This
so
woofer
the
lies right
the
in the middle.
purple is sealed and the
Yes.
green is vented.
Yes.
Okay.
This
And
one falls right in the middle, so we can go either way.
so this might be a very good candidate for also a 6th order, or I mean a 4th order also then.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now that we've selected the woofer, you go to enclosure design. So what you want to do first is tell it how many woofers. So we'll do 2 woofers.
Ah, okay.
Then you tell it how much cubic feet you have available. So you can do it one of 2 ways. You can either go up to wood design and type in the size of the enclosure, or you can keep it on enclosure design and tell it how many cubic feet you have to work with.
So most likely, so you say you have a Honda as the thing is, you're going to be limited to the space, right?
Exactly.
So
So
that one you
wood
would go
design-
to the box size, right?
Yep.
And that's where you're at now?
So that's wood design. That's the box size.
Okay.
You go to the little padlock and unlock it. Let's clear all this first. So hit clear. Go to box design. Then you get to pick whether you want the box to be rectangular, sloped.
And
So
obviously
there's
it's
the
going to
angle
want to be
enclosure.
sloped with the Honda, right?
Exactly.
You're going to follow the slope of the back seat to maximize as much volume as you could possibly get.
Very good. Most Hondas, we have at least 36 inches of width.
Yep. So do you put
15
in your
height.
max? Do you put in your max width and max height, and then let the
Yes.
design do it, or because they
Yes.
might make it smaller, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So as you're moving along, it knows what the woofer wants to see.
Okay.
So the nice part is when you have, so you can adjust. So there's certain parameters you can adjust. You can't adjust the width. So once we typed in 36, we want to lock it because it cannot go to 37 or 38.
Okay. And
Then-
for you guys, if you're watching on your phone or something and they're really small, those little yellow things just to the left of the numbers, those are locks. So you lock and unlock those. Go ahead.
Okay, so now we have 36 locked in. We have a height of 15 locked in. And it fills up the remainder for us. So
Okay.
it made
Wow.
the depth number 1 and depth number 2. So at the top it's going to be 11 inches. At the bottom it's going to be 19 inches.
Mm-hmm.
This gives us 3.3 cubic feet.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the nice part here is if you know what bracing you're going to use, you can add the bracing in and it will automatically calculate the displacement of the
Oh,
brace.
really?
So you see the top, the net cubic feet stayed the same, but our total cubic foot, so our net is 3.3. As we add 0.25 for bracing, our total is 3.9.
So does
we
it lay
haven't
out
had-
the bracing for you also, or no?
Yes, it does. Yes, it
Oh,
does.
okay.
And we haven't added a port yet.
Okay.
So whenever you make changes at the top, it unlocks your parameters at the bottom. So you got to go back and put them in, make sure they didn't change, and then it'll rerun the numbers again. So 36 and 15 are numbers that can't change, and it calculates the rest for us.
Okay.
So this is exactly why I wanted to go with 1 woofer instead of 2, because if we go back to enclosure design, this is our output. So the blue line is our SPL, and we have a nice flat response, but it's not playing very low.
Got you. So it's cutting off at about what?
right here. You guys blocking the screen.
Yeah, I don't think we can
Sorry.
see that
There we
bottom
go.
down there.
Actually, it's going down to our -3 point is about 30 hertz. That's not bad.
Okay. So
So
for
now,
people that don't know, when you're looking at subwoofer design, you want to look at the -3 number on both sides of the arc. Say you have a fourth order or a ported box, you're going to see a bump. You're looking at the -3 number from that bump, and that's going to give you really where your maximum playing potential is with that box.
and I'm glad you mentioned that because this is a simple vented box.
Mm-hmm.
We can easily go up here in the left-hand corner and see what these same woofers
Oh,
would
look
look
at that.
like in a fourth order.
Fourth.
Okay. But your box would be freaking monstrous to be a fourth
Yep.
order.
That's going to definitely change the size. So we go
But
to
your
normal.
maximum values are still the same, right? They're locked. So
Yes.
So there's that peak I was telling about. So then you go
Yeah.
look for the -3 on both sides, and as you can see, your bandwidth is very narrow with that, but it is creating much higher SPL.
Yes.
So okay.
So I want to go back to a regular vented enclosure. Now you see how quickly you can toggle through?
Mm-hmm.
2 clicks, and we're back to a vented enclosure. Now, if we switch this to 1, go back to our 3.2 cubic feet.
Uh-huh. So I have a quick question for you. So I don't use this program, right? So
Mhm.
can you track 2 different box designs on the same graph?
No, it lets you do one at a time, but it does
Okay.
let you save the image and print it, and you can toggle back and forth.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
So I'm constantly taking screenshots. So as I
Got
make
you.
changes, I'll take screenshots.
Okay.
So on the same amount of power, by switching to one woofer,
Mm-hmm.
now our -3 is 24 hertz.
Oh, there you go. So that's for somebody that wants to play low, like
Lows.
if you're gonna play rap music or some of the country music nowadays. But if you're into like thrash metal and stuff like that, the 2 woofers might be the better way to go then, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So with the program, you can make it one woofer. So we've modeled 3 different enclosures in the past 10 minutes, and we haven't cut a single piece of wood yet.
Right.
So we go back to wood design.
I do have a question too. So, do you have a place in here for double baffle?
Yes.
Okay, because that's like a necessity for me when I build a box.
Yes, sir. You can if there's certain stuff you like to do
Uh-huh.
all the time, what it does is you can save those settings if they're the settings you're going to use the most.
Mm-hmm.
So let me go back here.
Share your screen again. I want to. Wayne was telling me about a feature on here. I want to see how that works too.
Got it.
So the feature he was telling me about is so it makes you a cut list. Not only does it make you a cut list,
Oh, right.
but it maximizes a sheet of plywood also.
It
So
does.
it lays it
Yeah.
out for you on a sheet of plywood, and which would speak to your using it on a CNC machine, right?
Exactly.
So could you, can you show me that when you pull that back up, please?
Right.
So he's
beats
really
having to buy.
yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say, it really beats having to buy a sheet for every side.
Yeah, going to Home Depot in your
Yeah.
2000 Honda. At least then you can cut a couple of the sheets, at the Home Depot, some precise numbers, but they don't guarantee. Well, they guarantee to a quarter
Right.
inch or something.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's not the best.
12.
Tristan says he's looking at getting this program.
It's definitely worth it. This program pays for itself. Just in the material you save on building enclosure wrong will pay for the program.
All right, cool. So so we have people that watch this podcast from Trinidad, people that watch it from Barbados, which is Tristan and his wife. Then we also have people that watch it from New Zealand and
Yeah,
Australia
Australia.
and
Hmm.
Germany. I've seen on the thing, England. So we do have people watching from all over the world, and so I'm sure this is it. Home Depot parking lot boxes. Ah, good times.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. Usually at World Finals or 3X. So let's see. So you got your box design there. You're messing with your parameters. He's trying to put together something there. Let's see.
Yep.
There's your not good bandwidth, but it's a box design. Oh, I see it has the X, Y, and Z axes. So can you roll around it like in a CAD also?
Yep.
Okay. No, Mr. Wonderful checking in. Oh,
Yeah,
Christopher
that's one of my buddies.
Maynor. He's Mr. Wonderful, huh?
Yes, sir. Really,
Calvin's from the far, far land of SoCal. So yeah. So what about Mr. Wonderful?
very, very good tuner. He helps us out at the shop. He's very, very good with tuning.
Okay.
Um,
So I see
okay,
red,
so
yellow, and green on there. What does that
yes.
indicate?
So this is the vent air
Port
velocity.
velocity.
So,
Okay.
and it changes depending on how much power you have applied.
Right.
So click here and it'll switch it to a rectangle port. Then while you have your tuning frequency locked in and your airspace locked in, you could change the size of the port. And as you make the port larger and longer, it changes the vent air velocity. In a perfect world, you would want it in green. I
Right.
find yellow acceptable, so as long as
Yep.
it's green or yellow, then that's the other issue. This port is now longer than the enclosure.
Okay.
Wow. That's the port itself?
Yeah,
And this is
Okay.
for 2 drivers or 1?
this is a single driver,
Okay.
tuned to 26 hertz. So if we
Okay.
bring this up a little higher, so let's say we make it 30 hertz, then it resizes the port. And see that? In just a couple of clicks from switching it to 28 to 30 hertz, we
Uh-huh.
now have a port that fits in the enclosure.
That is
Because
good. That's
Yeah.
a
so
good thing.
so now the port is 21 inches
Mhm.
by 7 by 4.
Okay.
Then if you want to use a port tube, just click on pipe and it'll switch it. And then you can make it arrow.
Oh, it's got an arrow. Okay. And how big of an arrow does it allow?
As big as you want.
Okay.
So we just made it 4, 5,
5.
6.
I've seen 10.
Yes, I've seen some 10s too.
Seen some 10s.
I've seen remember the guy used to make the aluminum ends.
Oh, right.
Yeah, yeah, and
flares?
those were 10-inch. Yeah.
Well, it let me go to 10, but now it's 50 inches long.
It's all about the square inches, baby.
Hmm.
That's going to be a
Okay,
little
so
big
this-
for your box.
So we'll keep it at 6.
Okay.
Vent air velocity is in the green.
So now is it
18 inches
deducting
long.
that from the? So is this adjusting the box to accommodate
is.
the? Okay, so it's
Or-
adjusting
Yes, it is.
adjusting the box so that it accommodates the port also because there's internal volume issues with that. So
Yes.
okay,
Hmm.
Make sure we keep it happy here.
we like happy.
Here. So now that we've changed it around, now if you make a change,
Mm-hmm.
it brings up a warning that says, hey, if you want to keep it like this, we might have to change the tuning frequency. So you hit OK.
All right.
It kept the tuning frequency the same, but it unlocked the total amount of cubic inches that we have inside the enclosure.
Right, because we need that. We need more cubic
Yep.
inches to accommodate the port.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now we have enclosure that works. We're at our 36 inches of width, 15 inches of height. It's
Mhm.
15 inches of depth. We have our arrow port that's 6 by 18.8 inches. So now we can go to wood design. Now we want to see what the woofer looks like in the enclosure. So we go here to cut a hole. Wants to know what size. So it's going to be a 12-inch hole.
Yep.
Now this is the best part. This is the part that I like the most.
Okay.
So let me go here and change this because everybody's built-in enclosure, and you go to load the woofer in, and it hits the back or the bottom.
Oh
Right.
no.
Or the port.
So now, exactly. So now you tell it that the woofer is 7 inches deep, and you hit place. I want it right in the middle. Then you go ahead and rotate it. Move the side. Now you could see the woofer inside the enclosure. Now you can move the position of the woofer up and down.
Okay. So, but
Now,
I'm not seeing the port in there yet.
see that? The woofer came out of the bottom. That's no good.
Got you.
That's not good.
So Christopher Maynard says, all this before you even cut a piece of wood. This will save money,
Exactly.
time, and fingers, he says.
Exactly. This is that measure twice, cut once.
Yep.
Exactly. So this is more important in a wedge enclosure.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Yeah, don't place that sub too low on that. I mean, just saying, I might know from experience.
Mm-hmm.
I was adding faces to my box just to make the subwoofer fit. So there he goes, placing it. It's a wedge box now. He's rotating to see, and then you're going to remove the side panel so you can see inside and whether it hits the bottom or not. So if he rotates up,
It hits.
it does hit.
Oh, it's
so
gonna hit.
So you're going to have to raise it, or you have to bevel out the bottom, right? That's what it's going to
Exactly.
become. Yeah. There you go. Oh, because you're going onto a CNC, it's going to put the hole in the exact right spot for you anyway.
Exactly.
Cool.
So now you click done. It's going to save all that. Now you go to the last tab, which is fabrication tab at the top.
Okay.
And there's your cut sheet.
Calvin says he measured twice and cuts twice. That's not the way you're supposed to do it.
That's one way.
That's a way.
That's a way, not necessarily the right way.
And so now you can change the thicknesses of the wood from 3/4 to the 1 inch, because we have a lot of 1 inch out here that I see guys using. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And you said you can double the face and everything.
Yep. So if you want to double the face, just tell it's 1.5 inches or 2 inches.
Okay. That looks pretty cool. So it literally gives you a set of blueprints afterwards.
Yep, and it gives you the blade angle.
Oh, right. Oh, because so it's not doing butt joints. It's actually doing.
Oh no.
It's doing angled joints.
Yes, it's doing angle.
Yeah.
Invert that puppy, says Calvin. Says you don't have a problem with hitting at the
Oh,
back if you
okay.
invert that. Just stick it out the back of the seat of the car. That's fine. So that's cool. But yeah, so I mean, so with this program and stuff that you're seeing here, it's an opportunity for you to look. So when you're looking to tune a vehicle, can we go back to that real quick?
Yes.
To the tuning.
You were asking about the port.
About in the port. Okay, so well, since you got it here up and going, let's look at the port with the subwoofer, because now you have your port and your subwoofer in there. So we want to make sure those don't conflict with each other, right?
And I'm sure they're going to hit.
Oh, I guarantee they're going to hit.
Yep, there's port going through the subwoofer.
Can you? Oh yeah. You say mud joints? Jeff's mud joints are spicy. Yeah, Cal's a special kind of guy with you there, Jeffrey. Okay, so but you can move the port down and behind the subwoofer, right?
Yep.
Can you grab it from this side, or do you have to rotate all the way around? Carlos, can you grab it from this side of the box, or do you have to rotate the box all the way around to move it?
Oh, I can move it from
okay.
this side.
Oh, okay.
Because it'd be nice to try and move it when you can see the subwoofer. So you're gonna want to move it back also, right?
Yep.
So are you dragging this with your mouse or are you doing it with arrows on the keyboard?
Clicking with arrows on the keyboard.
Okay. Can you move it with your mouse or no? Is this
No, won't let
okay.
you do that.
Okay. So you're gonna have to move it with your keyboard. Nope. You're gonna want to move it back because your sub's on the face, on the angle. So you're gonna have to move it back to the square side. Did, so does it is it showing two ports in there right now?
It's showing the original location because I didn't save it yet.
Oh, got you.
Hmm.
So essentially, this thing's gonna show you all of your cuts. Gonna show you your any conflicts you have. We actually do this in the construction trade all the time. So we do it's called pre-construction meetings, and we do fly-throughs and to see if when somebody puts in a pipe, is it going to conflict with a stud in the wall or whatnot, and then we can move stuff around, and then we GPS locate them on job sites like that. So, but we use something very similar to this, which is kind of cool.
But I just like how you could just plug it into your CNC machine and it just set it and forget it.
Yeah.
Yep.
What CNC machine do you have, by the way?
I have a Cam Master.
Say again.
Cam Master.
Okay.
I barely use a CNC. I use my laser most of the time. But and the enclosure, I just cut them on my regular table saw.
Okay. Oh, you do. You don't just export it right to your CNC.
No, because they just added that
Oh,
to
got
this
you.
software, and I'm still learning it. So by the time I learn it, I could have probably built 10 boxes.
Got you. But once you do learn it, I think it'll save you a lot of time because you just throw a sheet of plywood on there and then go back and pick it up 20 minutes later. You know.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what you did. You moved the sub to the other side so you
Mm-hmm.
can put the port down below it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. All right, so what we're seeing here with the box, yeah, why don't you, like I said, can you go back to the impedance curve and
Sure.
the response curve?
Yep.
So is this just the response curve or is it also an impedance curve?
It's also an impedance curve.
So the impedance curve would be the purple line, right?
Yes.
Okay. So do you mind explaining to people what you're looking for when you see these lines and stuff?
Okay. I'm waiting for them to catch up live.
Okay.
All right. So the yellow line here is the amount of power applied. So the program automatically puts in whatever the maximum RMS the speaker can handle.
Okay.
If you want to run more power because you know the speaker can take it, you can increase it. But it shows you once the woofer has reached its mechanical limit and its physical power limit. That's the two red lights that light up in the right hand side.
Okay. Cool.
So
Oh,
you can
okay.
overdrive it if you want. It's going to show you the bad things are going to happen. So,
All right. That's handy.
of course, the impedance is going to rise like crazy once you're below the tuning frequency of the port.
Yep.
So that's why it's important to make sure that your negative 3 dB point ends up right around here. Your
Where do you mean by right about here? What are you looking
I'm
for?
sorry.
You want it to land where?
When you slide if you click and slide this bar across
Uh-huh.
on the right hand side, it's showing you your frequency
Right.
and it's showing you SPO,
Right.
and then it's showing you relative to where your frequency is. It shows you how many dB SPO. So right here is your negative 3 dB point. So
Okay.
you're
And what are you
with
looking for at your negative 3 dB point? What do you want to see ideally?
when I build enclosures, anything below negative 3, I stop counting because the woofer is literally playing half as loud.
Right.
So any energy below that would be wasted.
Mhm.
And then I normally tune to 80 hertz. So 80 hertz would be here. I'm at 0 dB. So I count from here to here, my usable bandwidth. From
Okay.
here to here.
Okay. And
So,
so you see, for people that don't understand, that purple line there, that's the impedance curve. Notice the impedance is at its lowest, and that's a reactive impedance at tuning. So
Oh, okay.
you're going to
At tuning.
potentially get the most power from your amplifier at that tuning point, which is what helps
That
bump.
frequency.
Yeah, that's what helps bump up the SPL number at that frequency.
exactly. So where the purple line is at its lowest is also where the blue line is at its highest.
Correct. And what's the green line again?
The green line is relative. So it's relative to the blue line, and it just shows you the raise and drop in SPL as you track the blue line.
Got you. Okay. So if people that ask and are curious about the impedance curves, this is what you're looking for. Also, the term lab when you run your in your system at a show, if we clamp it, we can tell you what the impedance rise or the impedance rise is at the frequency you play. That's one of the features of the term lab. Christopher asked again. I might have missed it, but does this app also show you the best amp power for the port tune desired for this application?
Yes, that's why you have to look at the vent air velocity when you are in the vent design column.
Uh-huh.
So you can play around with power. And then, as a matter of fact, the vent air velocity shows you how much power is applied. So the screen should switch in a second, and then you'll see that our vent air velocity is a max. It's in the green, and it's showing that that's done at 1400 watts.
Okay.
Then, as
So
you, if
what he was talking about was trying to increase the total wattage, or is that what he
yes,
was asking? Oh, okay.
if you increase the power, I guess he's asking what happens to their. So
Hmm.
now you see we're no longer in the green. I increased it to 2,000 watts. We're
Yeah.
now in the yellow. So now
In
we're
the
getting
yellow.
more port noise or huffing.
Hmm.
Yeah. Not as
So
big of an issue when it's in the trunk or a fourth order, but
yes,
but it is still an issue, if you're a sound quality guy or anything. Um, cool. I mean, I appreciate that and so really, in all reality, how long did it take you to learn how to use this program?
a couple hours.
And mind you, you had been using programs prior to this.
Yes.
Um, most of them have line graphs like what we're seeing here with the impedance curve and whatnot. But they don't typically have most of them have port velocity too. The problem is with some of the other ones I've used is you got to constantly change numbers and you can never lock anything in.
The
So,
most tedious part about this
uh-huh.
is most of the drivers you're going to use are not in the driver library. So when you have to add a woofer, a lot of
Okay.
these companies leave out some of the specs, and that
Yeah,
pisses
they
me
do.
off. So we'll go to add drivers. What's nice about this program is a lot of people aren't going to know what numbers are important, what numbers aren't. All
Okay.
the numbers that are in green are required. These are the minimum numbers that the program needs to work.
Okay.
So if you fill out the numbers in green, it's going to get you going. It's going to give you it's going to be pretty accurate. Now, if you want it to be super accurate, because these numbers are easy to find. So resonant frequency, X max, number of coils on the woofer, QTS, the rated sensitivity numbers,
Mm-hmm.
VAS, diameter of the woofer, and RMS power. Those are pretty easy. All the paperwork is going to show that. These numbers might not be on the paperwork. These numbers you might have to call in. LE, BL, QES, QMS. If you feel you're never going to find a woofer that's going to give you all these numbers. I don't know why, but I guess
Mine
they
used to.
feel.
But
So
but some of those numbers are very specific to that exact driver though too.
yes,
So that's why I know a lot of companies don't put it out there because just because that driver was made the same day with the same parts doesn't necessarily mean that that's exactly those numbers are going to match up exactly.
yes.
And those I actually had a linear X that we would run in a 1 cubic foot box. I'd run my drivers in that, and pull up those numbers for each one and send it out. So you would actually get that back when I had my company going for subwoofers. And each one would
No.
be very specific to each driver.
Yep.
So,
But the more numbers you can fill in, the more accurate it'll be.
absolutely.
And then there's certain stuff that's just common sense. Like if you tell it how deep the woofer is, it won't let you build an enclosure. So if you have a 7-inch woofer in depth, it won't let you build an enclosure at 6 inches deep because it knows if you don't give it that information, it doesn't know. So then your cut sheets are going to be off because you didn't fill in all the information. So depth of the woofer, it'll run the numbers for you. But if you don't fill this in down here, there's a chance you could make a mistake and then your woofer won't fit in your enclosure, even though the enclosure is the right amount of space for the woofer and the port is correct.
Got you.
So when you
And
have a custom driver,
just so people know, also, Wayne Harris, it doesn't charge anything. All you have to do is send him your information, and he'll upload it to the database. So for manufacturers, if you're a one-off or two-off subwoofer company, you can absolutely just send it to Wayne Harris, and he'll upload it. He's trying to grow the database as strong as he can. So.
for a subwoofer company, it would be great promotion for them because if the information's in the database and somebody's scrolling through the software and starts modeling enclosures with this woofer they've never heard of, and the numbers come out amazing, that's an easy sell for them.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. All right, go back to your regular screen, sir.
Got it.
And then, let's see here. Does this app also let you verify the port tune frequency? Which, yes, it does. So we've seen that on there. That's really cool. So why don't you tell us about your most favorite build you got going on or that you've done so far? Because you really specialize in bikes nowadays. So why don't you tell us about that?
Well, we have Chris's bike in here, Mr. Wonderful's bike in here. It's one of our competition bikes. We like
really quick, Dave Bork. The program we're talking about is the Term Pro box building software. So, all right, go ahead. Sorry about that, sir.
No problem. Mr. Wonderful's bike's in here now. It's a competition bike that we built. When we build stuff, we actually try and do more with less. So we like building 4, 6, and 8 speaker bikes. We like the lower power classes because you have to be more creative. You have to make sure that you're getting all the power from the amplifiers. You have to make sure that you're using your batteries efficiently. So we do really well in the lower power classes because we use software like this. So we'll make sure that the bags are ported right, and we make sure it's the right port, and we make sure that everything matches. And then another thing that people don't understand, I could build the best bike possible. It's also the owner of the bike's responsibility to run the bike properly. So Chris has been Chris isn't even in the industry. Chris is an MECP master certified. So he loves audio that much that he went and got certified past his basic, advanced, and his master's. He doesn't do this for really. He's in IT. He works with computers all day long.
Okay.
He's got a really, really good ear. He understands acoustics. He understands the physical limits of the equipment on his bike. So he does well in competitions. So building it is only one half. You have to learn how to run it. In order to run it, you have to understand the physics behind it. It's fun, but it's a lot of math. People don't realize, like, we build dependable, reliable, repeatable bikes because we do the math and it just all makes sense. So on his bike, we're running 2 lithium batteries, which allows us to run right around 8,000 watts RMS. We have a 5,000 running a pair of mid-bass drivers in a set of ported bags that are not sealed, but they are reinforced. We have a set of 8-inch mid-bass drivers and a custom tour pack in the back, running 1,600 watts RMS. And then we have a set of 8s in the front, running around 1,200 watts RMS. So it's a lot of power. It's only 6 speakers. The bike sounds really, really good.
Mr. Wonderful says that 4-speaker victory. I'm scared of that bike.
He's talking about one of my personal bikes.
Oh.
I set out to prove a point.
Okay.
And the bike has stock bags on it. We're running less than half a cubic foot per bag. The bike plays mid-50s as far as tuning frequency of the port. But we're running about 8,000 watts RMS on a set of mid-bass drivers. And it sounds really, really, really well. With the box rise, you're not seeing anywhere near 8,000 watts.
Right. Yeah,
It's
especially when you get a box that small, it's not. It's
yes.
gonna go through the roof. But your cue, you're just if you can tune the cue to around 7, it's gonna
Hmm.
sound really good. So
We're knocking shit off the walls in the shop.
there you go.
It's a 4-speaker bike that competes in the 8-speaker class, and I've never gotten run over.
Mm. Uh,
But it's math.
it's just math. Yeah, I love
It's
math,
math.
dude. So Calvin says Jeff's favorite build is me, not my car, me.
What? What kind of build is that, Cal?
Yeah, yeah, a little elaborate. Elaborate there. All right. So what kind of so we're not familiar with stereo competitions with bikes. So how do those run?
Motorcycles.
Yeah, with motorcycles.
With motorcycles, it's they normally have a 3-judge panel, and they judge on overall balance of sound. Of course, if
Like
you don't have
SQ.
bass, yeah, it's
Okay.
not really I'd call it SQL.
Okay.
SQL.
But, it's the bikes are judged on overall balance, staging, but of course, if you don't have bass, nobody cares because to get the crowd into it, the bike has to. It's got to be balanced, but it's got to have a good amount of bass. So if you cannot, bass is obviously the hardest thing to do on a bike because you don't have a solid subwoofer enclosure. You're limited to
And
your
your subwoofers are deep if you want a big, strong, powerful one. Yeah, those
yeah.
are all
And
kinds
in
of
the lower
problems.
classes, you're not allowed to run subwoofers.
Oh,
In the
really?
two mid bass drivers.
Calvin wants to chime in here. He ain't gonna lie, it's pretty messed up. That's what he says. The build that you did at him, it ain't pretty.
I'd like to see him get on a motorcycle with the system on there, and I'd pay to see that.
Dave Borg asked, "Does this program graph against open air or specific sized rooms that that's user adjustable?"
No,
No,
no.
because it's based only on the box, right? So
Yeah.
it's the potential performance of that box. Because with a room or with open air,
Isn't
you don't get any kind of coupling of the sound, right? So you
isn't
can.
REW the only program that does?
I've never heard of REW, so I don't know what
It's
that is.
it's the only program I know that lets you put in the size of the room and
Really?
only one. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Um, Jeffrey Fernandez. Oh, is pear shaped a build? He says he needs a trike. A bike ain't gonna be big enough for him.
And we got 2 trikes in here now.
Oh yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it is.
So with the installations, so they're obviously in the bags, right? Is there like
and the
a
fairing,
specific in the what?
up in the top, that
Oh right,
the
right.
windshield thing that comes around. Yeah.
Where would you put the woofer, and how would you where would you face it?
In bikes, they face the rear wheel, so it
The rear wheel.
uses
Okay.
yeah. So it's sort of like when you do an isobaric enclosure in a car and mount the woofer in the trunk on the trunk floor. It's basically the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. Do one woofer on each side, facing each other. They load off each other under the rear fender, and it's the only way you're able to produce really good bass in a bike. But just like a car, you have to reinforce the bags because the factory bags are 1/4 inch plastic.
Yeah.
So
Oh
we end up
yeah.
fiberglassing, dowel pins, all kinds of creative stuff. They actually make aftermarket competition saddlebags. Like there's saddlebags out there that have 2 cubic feet of airspace.
Wow.
Like these guys take competition seriously.
Mr. Wonderful asks, is this app available to anyone or just shop owners?
Anyone.
Yep. All you have to do is have the term lab, and you can also, once you have the term lab unit itself. Oh no, because you can buy the software separate, right?
Yes. Yep.
So you
I
don't
had the
have to have
software
the
way
term lab.
before I had the. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Calvin, he says mucho love, y'all. Gotta run. Carlos, thanks for the knowledge, brother. Y'all have a good one and have a straight trip home, El Jefe.
Thank you.
So, all right, cool. Like I said, I think this is a lot of good information. Some of the people may have to go watch this back again just because there may be nuances that you didn't catch. I was trying to help you guys through it, some of the stuff that he was showing, but there are nuances to it that once you start playing with the program, you'll start seeing the nuances that you didn't catch during this. This is a general overview of just a box building program, but the key factors are here. Anybody can purchase it. You can run it on your computer, and it gives you the opportunity to design a box, find out what the port velocity is. You can place the subwoofer. You can place the port. You can find all that stuff out. Find out what your impedance rise or drop is going to be. You can find out what your potential SPL is coming off of that box, so you can see your frequency ranges that you're going to produce. And it actually literally will print out a cut sheet for you, full set of plans, so that you can just, go down and you can build the box with all the parts ready to go.
You can also check your enclosure that you currently have. Let's say somebody built an enclosure for you, and you're not sure if it's right. You could literally measure your enclosure, type it in, measure your port, remove the woofer, measure the port on the inside, type it in, and then run the numbers and see if it's right. So if your builder promised you XYZ, you can actually reverse engineer it and make sure that it's doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Dave Bork asks, will it model an 8th order bandpass?
Let's see.
He's going to check right now.
Let's give it a shot.
What would an 8th order bandpass be?
That's what I was going to ask.
So if you read the Speaker Builder's Cookbook, that's a made-up thing. Just saying. Yeah, it is. Because they stop at 6th order. Because a 6th order is 2 chambers ported, right?
Ported, right. Ported to bigger.
Yeah, so I don't know what an 8th order would be.
We have 3 chambers ported on the screen now.
That would be an ABC box, right?
Let's see.
So what do they consider that?
It doesn't show you the names. It just shows you a picture.
Oh, okay.
See it? Upper left-hand corner?
Yep.
Dave here says it's series 6th into a 3rd.
So that would be
his explanation of an 8th order bandpass box is.
So that's almost kind of what you had there with the 3 ports. We called those ABC boxes, and then there's also servo tune. There's where you can tune in between and all kinds of stuff.
Oh, 3rd chamber.
Yes. All right. Let's get back over to the regular screen there, sir. And then Jeffrey, why don't you hit him with the question? We're about out of time on this thing here.
Sure. All right, Carlos. It's a question that we ask all of our guests. Basically, we want to know what your definition of a base head is.
My definition of a base head would be 2 of my employees, Leo and Kyle, where they build the enclosure first, and the enclosure is the only thing that matters, and they have about 6 times more bass than you would need to make the system sound nice and balanced. That is my definition of a bass head. I like bass. I like about double the amount of normal bass. These guys like about 4 to 6 times.
Oh,
that is normal bass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Kyle's
That's
nickname in the shop is
typical,
plus 12 dB.
Well, that's
Minimum,
where you got to start. Yeah, I was gonna say you got to start somewhere. 12 dB is a good number to start with.
Nice.
All right. So, Carlos, where do people find out about you, see your shop, that kind of stuff?
You can check out our website, nvsaudio.com. We do pretty good on Instagram and Facebook. It's just simply NVS Audio on Facebook, NVS Audio on Instagram, and NVS Audio on YouTube.
Okay.
Did we find out exactly where the location is, where your shops are?
We are in Roselle, New Jersey, and Linden, New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
So my grandmother passed away recently, but I still have a lot of family, and they live in Lakewood, New Jersey. How close are you to that?
Lakewood, 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. So I probably drove through your town on the way to go see them from Philly, right? So
probably did, yep.
Oh, cool. Yeah, you know what? For those people that say we're running out of area, drive through New Jersey. There's all kinds of land in New Jersey that nobody's living on. All over the place, dude. I've driven across Kansas, in more freaking dense places than some of the parts in New Jersey I drove through. Just saying.
So did the people that were asking you that, were they in California? Because I can kind of see why.
Asking what?
Were they asking about space,
Where the
open
land's at.
spaces?
Oh
and
no.
where the land is?
Just a knowledge.
Just in general.
Yeah, just something I really noticed when I drove through New Jersey. I hadn't been there since I was 12 years old, and then I went back when my grandmother passed last year, and so it's been 40 years since I was there. So I didn't realize how much space there actually was in New Jersey. I thought it was, in my mind, it was all like New York City, right?
Yeah.
Because it's
East
back
Coast.
East Coast.
Yeah.
Houses are stacked right next to each other, brownstones, that kind of thing. Somebody might have a yard, but at best it's like we have out here with the track homes, right? Like that was the best case scenario. But no, dude, there was land everywhere. I mean, dude, you could have gone hunting in some of the spots that I saw out there.
Now we know it's an area that has a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts that like to have systems in it. So
Yeah.
it's making Carlos here a good living.
Yep.
It definitely is.
Mr. Wonderful says if you're in the Philly area, come on up to Jersey the 16th to experience a motorcycle sound show.
Ah, okay.
Cool. Jeffrey, what you got going on, sir? Let's talk about you real quick.
Man, I'm gonna kind of rest up from this past weekend, and luckily we don't have another show. I don't have another show till April 23rd. It's going to be in Grapevine, Texas, at Crossfire headquarters. We got another Triple Point event going on, sponsored by. We got Crossfire, and then we have a kind of an unnamed sponsor for the moment, but.
Unnamed.
Yeah, so it's well, there's subtle hints on the flyer, which Andy was really smart in kind of incorporating that in a lot of the flyers and the trophy designs and stuff like that. So, but he just wants to remain nameless, but he wants to know that he's all for the basehead community. He's not taking any recognition for it. He's just
cool.
An everyday guy just wanting to see base competition. So he's the guy that's putting in on these events in Grapevine, Texas, making a Triple Point event. So that's going on Sunday, April 23rd. Check out dbdragracing.com on the calendar for all that info.
Yep. And then we have April 8th up here at Mello's Auto Repair. That's this coming Saturday. We're going to be doing a wedding renewal for Team Send It Janet and Team Send It Sean. So if you guys are in that area, come out, tell them, hey, support them. They come to a lot of the shows out here. So, support the people. Let's really show, let's show the love for the basehead community. They want to share this with you guys. They don't have to do it out in public. They don't even have to, but they want the basehead community be part of them renewing their vows, which is an awesome thing in my opinion. We'll be doing show starts at 6 p.m. We'll do the renewal at 8 p.m. right before we go to brackets, and then we'll go from there. That will be a 3X event, upgraded by Team Send It, upgraded it to a 2X, and then Moses Martinez updated it to a 3X.
So what exactly is your role going to be in the renewal of vows? Are you kind of like the best
I'm going to officiate it.
Say good?
No, I'm going to officiate it.
What does that entail? What does that mean?
Ladies and gentlemen,
exactly?
We are gathered here today to witness this man and this
MC.
woman.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be like a best man type
no,
thing. You're going to give like
I'm going to be like the pastor.
I gotcha. You should put that down on your business card too.
Pastor,
able to renew vows.
Renew vows. Yeah.
Yeah, with the SPL competition, included in your DB drag.
In my DB drag and my trophy shop and my T-shirt shop and construction superintendent. Besides for all that stuff, just add it on.
So if you guys are watching, listening, Doug's taking bookings.
Yep, and then we obviously have Autorama. The 29th and 30th, that's Saturday, Sunday at Sacramento Cal Expo. Freaking awesome show to be part of. If you guys are anywhere on the West Coast, you need to come to this show. They gate 30,000 people and they put us right at the front gate, and they got to walk by you and check out your stuff. So if you have want to show off your system, want to demo out for people, come on out to Autorama. That will be the 29th and 30th. Celise was working on the flyer. We'll get that going. That'll be a 2X on Saturday and a 3X on Sunday, which is super important because if you're going to go to World Finals, you need points. All right, guys. Well, thank you for being part of the show today. We went into time like we normally do. This has worked out really well. Carlos, awesome information. Thank you for your help, sir. I think you did a great job on this thing.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you being here, sir. Remember, anytime you get an opportunity to support the people that support the things you like to do. Crossfire Car Audios and Puns Customs, two of the supporters of this podcast. If you get an opportunity, please patronize those people to show them that you support them for supporting the car audio industry. All right, guys, we are going to get out of here. I got to go take some old people's money again tonight, hopefully. So I'm going to go beat up on some old folk, get me some, what are they called, Social Security checks. Yeah, just sign them over to me. Let's just sign them over to me. But we'll see you guys next week at 5:30 p.m. California time, the only time that matters on This Week in Car Audio. We out.